Hi there. You have joined Live Stream Lee. My name's Lee Thurburn. Welcome to another Friday interview episode. Today we're going to be talking with a good friend of mine and an expert in process improvement, Bruce Carnohan. Before we get started, I just want to introduce myself for those of you that have this might be your first time. My whole purpose and passion in life is to help small businesses grow. And the Live Stream Lee show is one of the things that I do to try to spread information. I teach school at UT Arlington. I'm a professor of business, teaching both entrepreneurship and business strategy. And I have my own software company. My software company is called Apricot Rocket, and it is devoted to helping small businesses grow faster. I'd like to invite you to go to apricotrocket.com, where you can get a free account. Now, Apricot Rocket is a lot like Facebook or LinkedIn, except it's different. Of course, you knew I'd say that, right? Facebook and LinkedIn are about community building, and so are we, but we're business community building, not professional network or social community building. We help you build a community for your business and nurture those relationships so that they end up becoming customers. It's a very powerful and easy to use tool. So I'm going to invite you to get a free account. Go to apricotrocket.com and check it out. All right, today, click over here. Today we're talking to Bruce Carnohan. And I'm going to go ahead and bring Bruce in. Hey, Bruce, how are you today, sir? Good to see you again.
Good afternoon, Livestream Lee. How are you from wonderful Dallas, Texas, right?
Well, we're beginning to heat up a little bit. You're out there on the shaky side in Southern California.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather every day, I'm guessing.
Actually, it's been really hot as well. I've had to break into turning on the AC, which breaks my heart. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. But hey, it's a fabulous Friday, even though the AC has to be on today.
Well, I'm so tickled that you could join me today. Folks, Bruce and I have known each other, I'm going to say 16 years, something like that, 15, 16 years. It was in the mid-2000s.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
All right, cool.
I don't know, 2005, 2006, something like that. We both did a lot of networking in the Dallas area when Bruce was here, and you know, Bruce, I've just known him for a long time as a person who's passionate about also about helping others, and his focus is on process improvement. And as you can tell from his accent, he's from the East Texas area that we call England. It's on the other side of one of our ponds in East Texas. So, Bruce, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit so people know a little bit about what you do and
sure.
how you got into your the game you're in.
Okay, well, thanks, Lee. Yeah, I am from a very eastern Texas pond, so thank you for that. I was born actually very west of London, so a little bit closer to Dallas than London is, just by 100 miles or so. And yeah, I grew up actually in a mixed household, so we didn't have a lot of room, and I grew up where my brain didn't like to be discombobulated with messy areas or messy things, and particularly messy processes. So I can always remember from a high school age that having all my stuff in line and all organized was something that helped me, and I guess I leaned on that, and then I just started to really enjoy making processes better. And then I started to really look at, well, if I can make them better, how can I make them simpler? And then through making processes better and simpler, the side effect is usually they end up being faster. Now, sometimes you have to slow down to go faster, as we know, particularly in, things like software development. It can be very frustrating. You gotta go slower to go quicker. So people get confused with my acronym sometimes, simpler, faster, better, but it's become my method, and it's based on proven methodologies that have been around for just about the same amount of time as I've been on the planet. So yeah, fast forward 27 different industries in 4 different countries. I lost count at the amount of successful process improvement projects I've done, but yeah, I've got a lot of experience under my belt, as it were. So
Bruce, pick two or three of the most interesting process improvement jobs that you've done, whether you
Mm.
were a consultant or an employee. It doesn't really matter, but just, I mean, I know that you've spanned, manufacturing and
Right.
distribution. There's all kinds of industries, aerospace. I mean, you've been involved in a lot of different industries.
Mhm.
Pick two or three of the most interesting jobs and just kind of briefly describe what the problem was and what you did to solve the problem.
Okay. Well, I'll pick a more everyday one, which was something that we all get involved in from time to time, and it was dealing with a state agency or a government department. And myself and two others, we were actually invited into this state agency in the state of South Carolina. And they had a huge influx of grant applications for moms for their childcare support system. And so it was very timely in terms of the fact that this benefit was being offered down in the state of Carolina, but it was very emotional as well, because as we know, childcare is a very emotional topic. It's become topical again, so that's why this one comes to mind. Anyway, the bottom line is that what the state agency faced is when I walked through their offices, they literally had grant paperwork stacked from the floor up to past desk height at more than 23 different workstations. So they were so backlogged on getting their applications not only reviewed, but processed. But it was taking on average 63 days from the time that the mom or the father or the couple applied for childcare support or childcare provision services. It wasn't just childcare support. So it was very emotional. The folks in the office were overwhelmed. They were working crazy hours. They were losing people's applications. They were often processing applications that weren't valid. Anyway, cut a long story short, we started to define the problem for them. And obviously, the big problem was the cycle time. And what we did is, with the executive director's blessing, we set a target to actually reduce 63 days down to 10 days or less. And I always remember all of the staff that were predominantly ladies. They kind of looked at me and said, "Bruce, you are absolutely crazy. I mean, you are like out of your mind. There's no way we're going to get from 63 days down to, even 20, let alone 10. So anyway, fast forward, I used the simpler, faster, better methods that are all documented now actually in a textbook. So people can get the textbook on Amazon Kindle as an ebook now. And some of the work in that textbook was actually based on this project. So after we figured out what the root cause of the problems were, fast forward 2 to 3 months, it only took 2 to 3 months with a pretty large team effort, but we actually got the cycle time down to 9.8 days. And we made the executive director very popular in the state of South Carolina. In fact, she became like a model area for, here's a problem, here's a process improvement, and then here's the result. So that one really, really stands out to me. In an industrial setting, the second one I would pick.
Before you go on, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Give me the name of the book, please. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Okay. Let me grab it.
Yeah, I think you've got it. I'm sure you've got one right there. There you go. Looky here, right on his back wall.
Well, actually, it's right on my visual board, because
Gotcha.
I actually use my own processes, because I don't just try and guide or teach people what to do. I'm a product of my own process. So here it is. It's
Sure.
improving service.
Improving performance of service organizations. Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, I know a little later you're going to show my Linktree. I'm pretty certain I
Mhm.
added a link
Ah,
to it there as well, Lee. So thank you for asking that. That's super.
I'm not sure. I think Bruce, since you've got it on your link tree, I'm not going to waste any more time. I hit a wrong button and I missed the stuff. So let's move on.
Right.
You were going to give an industrial example.
Yeah, so my favorite industrial example was actually I was working with a military-based company, and I can't really say too much about the details of the program, but basically I was in an aircraft hangar, and I was what they called a ship-side support guy, even though an airplane isn't a ship. They used to call it a ship in the airplane world. So I was in the hangar, and what we used to do is we used to take very old and very beat up aircraft, and they used to literally fly them into the airfield that I was in the hangar on the airfield. And they used to fly them in, and we used to take about 27,000 parts also off of this aircraft. And we used to promise to give the Marine Corps or the Marines and the Air Force 7 years of active flying life back to that aircraft. So it didn't matter how old it was, it didn't matter how beat up it was. And I've never forgotten there one day, this chuggity, chuggity, chug, it was like an old vintage car sound. And we opened the hangar doors, and there was this 1953 aircraft. She was shot to pieces. There were pieces falling off her, and the pilot got out and obviously went, phew, I think he was just glad to land safely. And we took that 1953 gem of an aircraft, and we took about, again, 27,000 pieces off it. We, over the period of the next 8 months, we actually refitted it with all the latest technology, and we purposely didn't clean up the outside of the aircraft too much because we wanted the enemy to think it was still a busted up old aircraft. And then we put it back together, and we gave it another 7 years of active duty in the sky. So that one was, yeah, that one was super interesting because back in 1953, a lot of people don't realize this. They didn't actually have they didn't keep the prints. So they used to design aircraft and on vellum paper, and they used to have all these paper rolls rolled up. And so there were no as-built prints for this aircraft. So the fascinating thing we used to do, we used to have to take parts off it, and we used to have to take those parts, even if they were damaged or beaten up, and use them as models. So that's where I learned the power of modeling something, take something, model it, test it out, and put it back into use and see if it works. So that was a very powerful lesson for me and a very powerful way. But yeah, that baby, when she flew out of there, I saw her fly out. She sounded beautiful. She still looked ugly, but she had all the latest spyware and all sorts of things in her. So we did a great job on that aircraft.
So let's fast forward to now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're in the process of, are you self-employed now, or are you gainfully employed? Are you a consultant? Where are you in the ecosystem of your industry right now?
Well, I wear two hats in that ecosystem. So I am actually a corporate employee for a company, and I do that for the core hours. And then back in 2019, I decided to basically take all of the stuff that I was only doing in person before in the process improvement world. And fortunately, before COVID came upon us, I started to rethink through how could I take all of that stuff that was predominantly done face-to-face and very hands-on and turn it more into a virtual platform. More importantly, how could I do that without being in the same room as other people that I was working with? So I started that journey early. It's been taking a lot of twists and turns. I've had to learn a lot along the way. So now I am able to do either what I used to do, which is with cross-disciplinary or cross-functional teams. I can either do process improvement in person, I can do it virtually only. I can do it hybrid, which is some in person and some virtual. So I've become very flexible in the way that I can deliver, whether it's education or guidance or doing it for them. I do everything from just pure education to done for you. So, and everything in between. So those are my kind of models, and I can do it in any media and any mode. So that's been a huge diversification of what I was doing before. So,
Bruce, describe a couple of kinds of companies, either by industry or some other set of parameters, that would be particularly likely to get noticeable, significant bottom line improvement from your services. I mean, just pick a couple of industries that literally would be sort of your ideal client.
Okay. Yeah. Great question. So on the ideal client thing, Lee, if people are watching this either live or as a replay, I am more than happy to send them. I have a characteristics sheet because I found that it's more around the characteristics, whether it be a small ownership type company or a senior executive that might have people working for them. It's really around the characteristics of the way that they think about things. And also, they have to have an open mind. So open-mindedness, being prepared to step back and look at the ways they've done things for a long time and being willing to be challenged about why they do things that way. So it's really individuals, because I can do what I do with the individuals to improve their own individual processes. But more often it's in a 10-person or more company, typically with $1 million or more in revenue, not income, but that's more typically. And where I am very strong is in complex organizations. So where there's either a lot of departments or a lot of different product families, or a lot of different processes all operating in the same building or set of buildings, or it might be multiple sites of the same thing. So back to the aircraft hangar thing, even though we did aircraft hangar stuff, that company had multiple hangars doing multiple products. So everything that we put in place in terms of improvements in one hangar, they could actually go duplicate for themselves in other hangars. So that's the other interesting thing with process improvement. When I'm able to show people the very simple yet powerful methods to use, once they understand what the method is doing, they can take that and they become self-empowered to go look at other processes. So it really doesn't matter where I start. I can start individually, small team, big company, small division of a big company. And that's what makes it so flexible for me and for the people that I work with. So,
what kind of benefit is typically received, or do you deliver? Do they get out of your service? Is it better margins, higher quality? Is it fast? I mean, faster delivery? Or all of those things. I mean, what are the benefits that your clients typically report that they get?
Right. So the short answer is yes to all of those. But what I always say to people, simpler, faster, better is built upon the philosophy of being able to remove, eliminate, or minimize massive amounts of process steps, time, or money, or other resources. So, simpler, faster, better is about removing, minimizing, or totally eliminating process steps, time, and money. So, and where this comes up is that people often get frustrated. They know there's something up with the process, but they can't put their finger on it, or the process gets discombobulated and they get the wrong result for the client. So the client might have expected to get a red book cover and they ended up with the right book, but a black book cover. So the output of what the company or the team is doing doesn't end up in the way that they think it should or that they plan for it to end up. So that's kind of the simplest way to describe the simpler, faster, better methodology that I have.
So, are you available for engagements now? I mean, you say you currently have like a day job, and you're doing this on your personal time. If somebody wants to engage with you, what's your bandwidth? How are you able to help them, and what does an engagement look like with you at this stage?
Right. So there's different entry levels of engagement, Lee, and the reason why I wanted to redesign what I did across different media was for that flexibility, because what I've also found is some people don't actually want other people to know that they have a problem with their process. So I wanted to maintain a confidentiality aspect for some people. Some teams actually work better when they're out of their day-to-day operations, so having flexible hours, so evenings and weekends if people are willing to do that. And then the other option is that I'm at a status with my day job, as you call it, where I have a reasonable amount of vacation, so I can also use vacation right now to do assignments. So the answer is yes. Would I like to do assignments for people? Can I be flexible? Yes. Will I give them everything that they're looking for? Yes. Because I've been doing this for a long time. I kind of know, I don't want to be arrogant, but I kind of know how to get people from where they are now to where they want to be, whatever that want to be is for them. And I can do it in a flexible manner.
It's like they say, you're not arrogant if you can actually deliver. And I know you, and I've known you long enough, to know that you do deliver. So for people to get started, I'm going to presume that let's pull up the Linktree and let's just talk about that for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I think this pushes us to the side, but this is your Linktree, and you can see it scrolling across the bottom, people. It's linktr.ee/process cleanup. So Bruce, talk about what's there.
Yeah, so Linktree, this is my first adventure into Linktree, and I actually had a colleague, Azia Ghazi, who showed me this, and this is part of a concept called one-place communication, or a one place to go find lots of different tools, right? So it's like the kitchen drawer, Lee. If you go to the kitchen drawer, you expect to find, a can opener, a sharp knife, whatever you need for cooking on the countertop there. Well, for me, I want to provide Linktree as a way for people to go here and go to any media that I have to find out more information. So they can book a casual chit chat confidentially with me there. They can go look at testimonials on my website from there. They can go and look at my LinkedIn profile to look at I've got almost 60 recommendations from clients and prior work colleagues there. They can also go and look at the textbook I referred to, both on Amazon Kindle. And there is a way to rent the book as well if you don't want to buy the book. And then my last new adventure, which is brand new, and I'm finding my way, as I've just created a TikTok channel called Simpler, Faster, Better. Go imagine why it's called that, Lee, right? And on TikTok, I am developing what I call fast tips. And the reason they're called fast tips is all of the videos are from my passion, IndyCar racing. So I'm showing people there are simple, very short lessons to be learned when you watch IndyCar racing and IndyCar racing teams and how they address problems and solutions. So they are absolutely fabulous designers of their own processes, but more importantly, they're absolute fabulous problem solvers when a problem comes up in a race. So
I'm going to show a couple for those of y'all that don't know TikTok. I'm going to tell you, it is a fascinating social media channel. I probably spend 15 or 20 minutes each day on TikTok, and I do it primarily because I consider it to be a way to keep me up with two things: what's going on in our society, and number two, what the technology, the leading edge of technology is. And it pretty much is one of the leading edges of the technology stage that we live on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click play on this, and we'll probably do this just for a couple of them. But why don't you give a kind of an overview? I don't think the audio will play, even though we tried that. So, right, folks, this is one of Bruce's TikTok. Bruce, go ahead and just give us a voiceover on what's going on here.
Sure. So this actually was from the latest race, and a car, as you can see, a car wheel came off. It was Graham Rahals, and what happened is the reason the car wheel came off is the pit crew didn't put the lug nut on correctly, so he came out onto the racetrack and lost his back wheel. And then the second guy here who is hit the car wheel, and he continued in the race. So even though it had significant damage on the car, they figured out how to make progressively small adjustments to keep him in the race. And eventually he still finished the race. So it's a great example where small adjustments can end up with big results. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Processes don't go from being terrible to fabulous in one big jump. You have to keep working at processes in baby steps. And that's a great example. This second one is predominantly an all-lady team. It's the first time ever that predominantly an all-lady team. And Simona Di Silvestro made a mistake here, but she was amongst the guy teams that also made the same mistake in the pit lane. For some reason, their brakes were fading and they couldn't stop in time. So that's pretty important on a racing car to be able to stop in time. So as you can see, and you can see the pit crew here, for me, the epitome of teamwork is if you look at an Indy 500 or Formula One or NASCAR, if you look at the pit stop sequences, it is the absolute world-class example of team working in action, because they gas that car up, 4 wheels, make adjustments, driver takes nutrition and water sometimes, all in 7 seconds or less. So it's absolute epitome of teamwork. So, and I love it. I love the sound and the smell. So you're on mute, Lee. So
the pit crews, I've heard, actually have competitions to see who can do certain things the fastest, aside from the fact that they compete on the racetrack with the other pit crews for the best car and the fastest turnaround times and so on.
Right.
Very interesting business. And what I really particularly liked, Bruce, is how you're leveraging a new leading edge social media platform to build visibility. You told me, give a quick rendition of how many views a couple of your best performing videos have had.
Yeah, so in total, I've only got 20 videos out there. I'm a newbie. I wanted to give a shout out to both Mayan Gordon and Gillian Mulholland, who are stellar performers on TikTok. And it's a great example of collaboration, Lee. I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Will you help me? And both of them helped me. And it was, great example. If you go to somebody that's already there, that's already tested some of this stuff, you make it simpler, faster, better for a newbie. So I went to them and I'm on my 20th video. 2 of the videos, one of the most fascinating ones, which is making small adjustments, big results, has got about 86,000 views, and it's of Scott Dixon from a race a couple of weeks ago. And then the second one was a real near miss where Will Parker stopped himself from actually crashing. So he just touched the wall of the circuit doing 200 plus miles an hour. So that one's gotten about 22,000 views. So between those 2, I'm up to 100,000 views or so. And I'm told out of 20 videos, that's a pretty good result. But again, I had a pretty fast launch because I used some existing experts to help me get going, and that's really the lesson learned. If you want to do something new and you want to do it fast and well, then reach out for expert help or consultative help,
What a great note for us to end on. We've gone our 30 minutes, and I know that you have a meeting that you have to get ready for. But folks, Bruce is an expert at process improvement, and we know the benefits of better processes. You have quicker delivery, you have a higher quality product, you have happier employees and staff because they're able to see the benefits of what they're doing. You get better margins. There's all kinds of benefits. So give Bruce a call and go to his website. You can see the link scrolling across the bottom, processcleanup.com, processcleanup.com. And Bruce, when they get there, what do you want them to do?
Take a look. There's some testimonials there, some of the most commonly asked questions answered in 1 minute or so video segments. You can also listen to some testimonials from some recent clients, and more importantly, just book a call with me. Have a confidential, comfortable chit chat with me. There isn't much I haven't seen before. That doesn't mean to say I'm not surprised, but if you think you have an issue or you think you have an opportunity for improving your process, then reach out to me. We can chit chat about it. And if I'm not the best person for that, then I'll refer you on, so no pride of ownership, for sure. So,
Bruce, thank you so much for your time today. It's been fun getting a chance to visit with you again. And I look forward to seeing how your business prospers as you get out there and start helping other people.
Yeah.
Folks, we're done for today. Thank you for tuning in. On Monday of this next week, we're going to have Tom Meyer come back, and he's going to talk a little bit about a process that he puts people through, which is a one-day scaling up, or it's a 2-day. He's got one coming up in about 2 weeks. Scaling up webinar, not webinar, but it's in person workshop. And so tune in and let's hear what he's doing. I've been to one of them. They're really good stuff. So come back on Monday and listen to Tom. And then the rest of the week, we'll have a bunch of other good stuff. So come on back. Thank you, Bruce.
Tom's a good guy. All right. Thanks, Lee. All right.
Bye.